Hello again, everybody. So I think we slowly start with our online conversation cycle, Tourism for Future, how personalities form sustainable tourism. My name is Anna Kodek from Naturefriends International, and I have the pleasure to guide you through the next hour. Before we start, I would like to inform you that we record this event. So if you will not be seen, please make sure to turn off your computer camera. If you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to write them at any time in the chat. Or if you want to say something, please feel free to use the raise your hand function, which is below the menu. Our topic, somebody's coming. Our topic today is international youth partnerships between global solidarity and climate crisis. Intercultural exchange and solidarity between the global north and the global south are important to us nature friends. Today, we want to discuss whether and how international networking can be organized so that the climate footprint remains as small as possible. We'll also present concrete tools that support this goal. Our guests are Mamadou, Sina, and Ingeborg. Please, would you be so kind and introduce yourself with 2 or 3 sentences? Thank you.
Who will start? Mamadou?
Yes, thank you for doing me this honor. Yes, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mamadou Sila, and I am from Senegal. I am also currently serving as the president of the International Young Nature Friends, and I've been also a long-term volunteer for ASAN. Thank you.
May I introduce myself too? My name is Ingeborg Pint. Most of the people on this panel already know me. I worked 15 years in the head office of International Nature Friends in Vienna. I was in charge for the landscape of the year and for translations into French, because I'm a French translator. And shortly before I retired from my job at the head office, I started to accompany and organize travels to African countries where NFI has members. And I organized these travels mainly for German-speaking nature friends groups. And in the last years, these trips concentrated on Senegal and the Gambia. So I will mainly speak about Senegal and Gambia and my experience with travels in these countries. And I am particularly happy that Mamadou Mbodj is there, who is the Deputy Secretary General of the Senegalese Nature Friends and the main actor of our travels to Senegal and the Gambia. Without him, nothing would happen there. And together we have prepared around 30 trips to Senegal and the Gambia. The last trip took place in January, February 24.
Thank you, Ingeborg. Maybe Sina, would you like to continue?
Of course. Hey, everyone. My name is Sina Franz, and I'm the Secretary General of International Young Nature Friends. And I have been involved in 1 to 3 or more projects and youth exchanges between lovely nature friends from Global South and Global North, but also in a lot of other international youth exchanges that IYNF is doing, or that the German Young Nature Friends did, or are still doing. Yeah, and I'm very happy to talk to you about how to make maybe our mobilities or activities or travels more sustainable in the future.
Okay, thank you. Ingeborg, let me tell me my first question to you. Like you said, you have been guiding and accompanying the Nature Friends trip for many years now. How has everything started? And how can we imagine a trip being with you? What is so special and unique about your trip? Please tell us more about it.
Okay. It all started with the opening of the Nature Friends house in Petit Mbao near Dakar in 20 years ago. The house was and is still the starting point of all the trips we organize, and these trips always last 2 weeks. Senegal and the Gambia are developed on the touristic sector, but the tourism there is mainly concentrated on the coastal areas, and this is not our thing. Even though we go sometimes to these touristic spots, it's not the focus. The focus is away from these areas. So what is particularly important for us is to get into contact with the local population in towns and above all in the villages. We visit schools and agricultural cooperatives, craftsmen and craftswomen, women groups active in the various fields, and cultural events. We are interested in learning about traditions. And of course, as nature friends, we want to discover the natural resources of the countries we visit. We learn a lot about the dangers which threaten these resources and about climate injustice. Of course, there exists a lot of tour operators who propose sustainable travel through Senegal and the Gambia, but the Nature Friends trips are specific insofar as they are both based on the motto, friends are meeting friends. That means that our trips are characterized by mutual interest and respect and serve to break down prejudices and barriers. On the one hand, after such a trip, the European participants understand a bit more about the living conditions in an African village, for instance. An important awareness rising is therefore taking place. And on the other hand, contact with Europeans is very valuable for the people in the villages because they see and understand that Europeans may appreciate what they are doing and show solidarity. This mutual sensitization is very important for us, and this is the specific characteristic of our trips. Thank you.
Thank you, Ingeborg, to have a glimpse about your trips. Over the years, the trips not only have brought the nature friends from Europe and Austria and Africa together, but they also have initiated sustainable projects, particularly in Senegal and the Gambia. Please, can you tell us more about those projects?
Yes, of course. And of course, we know that the flights connected with these trips are problematic in times of climate change. But we can say that over the past 20 years, thanks to around 14 Nature Friends trips to African countries, a great number of projects of international solidarity have developed, which aim to help improving the living conditions of the population and also sometimes to improve the climate situation. On the one hand, this means that we support ongoing projects in African member countries. For instance, the training of guides for sustainable tourism in the Gambia, which is done by our member organization Just Act. This is a project which we support. But on the other hand, specific projects of a varying scope have been and are being realized as an outcome of the Nature Friends trips. These projects are always developed according to the needs of the respective country. I will just mention some examples. So, for instance, the construction and the operation of a training center for girls and young women in northern Senegal, near Saint-Louis. For their 2 years training, the girls can choose hairdressing, regional food processing, tailoring, and fabric dyeing, and gastronomy and service. In addition to these craft training, basic knowledge about the environment, the climate, and climate change is taught as a cross-sectional discipline. This project has been initiated and it is still supervised by German Nature Friends. I would like to mention also the exchange programs for pupils in Senegal and the Gambia, which are taking place with a special focus on environmental and climate issues. These programs permit to pupils from Senegal and the Gambia to meet and to exchange. They would never have had this chance otherwise, although they are living at a distance of only 14 kilometers. Then, thanks to regular visits by European Nature Friends groups and repeated donations from these groups, it has been possible to support the development of a women's group in the village of Kamp in the suburbs of Dakar. Women work there on a quite large area, on a large surface, to grow vegetables. And the work of these ladies is not only important for supplying the population with healthy food, with healthy vegetables, but it's only important because it preserves a green lung near the capital city, Dakar. Another major effect of the awareness raising promoted by the trips and the regular contacts between European and African Nature Friends is the Nature Friends Climate Fund, which has been financing projects in African member countries of NFI since 2018. For some years now, the focus has been on fruit tree planting in family compounds, which can be seen as a climate protection measure, ensure healthy nutrition, and provide families with an additional income through the sale of the fruit. Several thousand trees have been planted in Senegal and the Gambia so far. And young trees are repeatedly and again handed over to villages or pupils during the trips. And common tree planting is organized. But many projects on other topics were and are financed by the Climate Fund. in other countries. In the cultural field, I would like to mention that thanks to the action and the presence of Naturefriends, the Kankurang Festival in the Gambia, in the Central River District, could be reintroduced to the cultural agenda of the country. This means that knowledge of a century-old tradition, regional tradition, has been kept alive also thanks to the Friends of Nature trips. And most recently, plans are being developed to install photovoltaic system at the Nature Friends house in Petit Mbao and for schools in the country, in Senegal. And what is important is that in addition to monitoring by the local project organizers, African Friends of Nature also provide regular supervision of the project. The projects are therefore not abandoned by the Nature Friends. In conclusion, I would like to mention that in 2021, when the COVID pandemic made physical traveling impossible, NFE organized a virtual journey with daily reports about the highlights we normally visit along a real trip through Senegal and the Gambia. More than 100 people took part in this virtual journey, who also donated to climate project in Senegal and the Gambia. However, despite interviews with actors in the region and videos contained in the daily stories, in my opinion, such a trip is no substitute for a real trip, which aims to achieve the goal of the Nature Friends, namely the contact and exchange with local people. Such a virtual trip cannot convey the friendly togetherness, the shaking of many hands, the sun, the wind, the smells, the music, the sounds, dancing and laughing together. And I know that among the participants of this meeting, there are people who have also participated in such trips, and they know of what I am speaking. So thank you.
Mhm. Thank you. Thank you very much, Ingeborg. Mamadou, now let me ask you a question, please. Projects like the Climate Fund is a possible solution to face the climate crisis. You have also a very interesting project with the reforestation of mangroves. Please, can you tell us too how this project started and what is your motivation?
Yes, thank you very much for this question. I'm greeting again, everyone. Maybe I should have mentioned that to start with, is that I have participated as well in many exchanges organized by Alzheimer's and Nature Friends in Senegal, along with other partners from Germany and from Benin. And I think the first exchange I participated, this question we are discussing today also came up related to travels, of course. And we were like, okay, we are traveling for 2 weeks and then we're taking the plane. And like, is it worth it? And then we came to the conclusion, the fact that, you know, these exchanges, partnerships between the Global South and Global North, why is it important? It's more like the content of the travel. It's like what really we gain from these travels, the amount of knowledge, the amount of experience, but also the amount of actions we are implementing. I think Ingeborg have not exhaustively mentioned a lot of them with very, very, very high impact, especially in Senegal. Yes, you know, I think regarding to the questions now coming up, I think regarding the mangrove plantation, there are consequences of climate change that we really do not really talk about that much regarding the climate crisis. It's about biodiversity loss. In Senegal, why mangrove is important is Senegal is facing a lot of, for example, coastal erosion, which is one of the main consequences of climate change. And one of the virtues of planting mangrove is, of course, it's maybe the best solution we have found so far to kind of like decrease like the erosion of the water into the coastals, into the habitations, let's say. So I've always loved these activities of mangrove plantations because it's fun, as you can see in the pictures, but also because of its high impacts. When I mentioned regarding coastal erosion, the other, of course, is regarding carbon sequestration and compensation, and it is one also of the main impacts. It's like where people are traveling here and there, and then mangroves are able to sequestrate a lot of carbon, and then maybe compensate a lot of carbon emissions we are doing. I think Senegal relies a lot in its NDC, in its nationally determined contributions. Countries have to have national determined contributions every other year to show that they're contributing to carbon reductions, and Senegal is relying a lot in these plantations in order to meet its emission reduction targets. One other thing, maybe that's where I'm concluding regarding these projects, and it's really, really, really important for us, is the fact that it's a way to somehow raise awareness, especially in our methodology of doing it. We try to include as many local populations as possible. So when they feel included in this project, so basically they somehow know the importance of these activities, and they're able by themselves, the locals by themselves, able to protect and to continue expanding these activities to build a sort of a chain of mangrove plantation, which is making a big impact. And it's, for me, one of the best ways to raise awareness by including those local populations into the activities and the projects we're doing.
Thank you. You are also a member of the Loss and Damage Youth Coalition, an alliance of youth from the Global South and North, with more than 1,000 members in about 90 countries. How can you bring your experience working with young people to a political level, Mamadou? We can't hear you. We can't.
Sorry, I was supported. I was saying, of course, yeah, thanks for mentioning that. I'm part of the Loss and Damage Youth Coalition, which is a global alliance of people from the Global South and the Global North, who are the idea of the loss creating this movement was more of it started with a campaign which we called the Loss and Damage Finance Now campaign, which was with the aim to channel finance that is destined, maybe dedicated to other non-priority issues, to channel them and then to bring them in the climate to bring them in the climate issue. It's like maybe to use finance as the best way possible, but also to advocate more reformations of financial institutional organizations like the World Bank, like IMF, who have a certain way of financing that is not benefiting the African continent, mainly because it's based on loans. What we are trying to do is really to bring in young people inside the decision making. Because yes, I think we as activists, it's very good, but we as decision makers, it's even better. And this is how we are trying to do it. We are supporting a lot of young people to be country negotiators in important events like COP. So we have a group of young people who we are supporting, giving resources, but also helping them find necessary means, financial resources to attend COPs, and also to participate in building up positions for their countries. And I think that's also part of things we did also in Azan. In our last project, exchange project with Benin, Germany, and Senegal, one of the outcomes was that we feel like we have to be more in contact with the politics. So we made a set of recommendations that we try to bring into the municipalities or to our close politicians. And I think now we already know that young people have to be involved in politics and in the decision making, because of course there are a lot of criticisms somehow, and sometimes it's a bit complicated. But if you are not deep into the decision making, it's very difficult in some ways to change some of the things. So these conversations we are bringing regarding climate change, regarding climate justice, it's important that we are raising it to the society, but it's even more important we are bringing it to the high level decision making, so that they are able, we are able to take the right decisions for the best of the world.
Mhm. Okay, thank you. Okay, Sina, last but not least, intercultural exchange, interaction, collaborative activities, like these are also the focus of international young nature friends work. Like the mangrove reforestation project is also part of the international project Greening International Youth Work, in which you developed tools and methods to make international youth work more sustainable. Excuse me. Would you also please tell us more about it?
Of course. Thank you a lot. Yeah, I have the great pleasure to explain a bit about a project that we had in the Erasmus Plus project framework. Together with our partner organizations, we partnered up with German Young Nature Friends, Biodiversa from Spain, Italian Young Nature Friends, Asan, hi Mamadou, sorry, and of course then IYNF was involved, and it was a two-year-long project. It was containing different activities and mobilities, and we just saw some pictures from the mangrove planting in Senegal, and that was actually a very special activity. So I would like to say a few words about this first, and then I will explain you a bit the outcomes. It was not just a youth exchange, but it was one of the first youth exchanges that were done with the participation of two African NFI members that were funded. So we had Asan and we had Crédit ONG there, and then we had the other partners, the European partners that I just mentioned before, and all together the people planted the mangroves. And I'm coming to my first outcome together with Mamadou Mbodji in this case. Sorry, I think just saying Mamadou is not enough in this round, could lead to some confusion. We developed a paper on mangrove reforestation. So in case you're interested in getting to know more about mangroves, why mangroves are important, how mangrove planting can be used in activities, and it doesn't have to be a youth activity. I think every tip and thing that we're explaining can be also used, for example, for any Nature Friends activity. So we just focus on young people as young nature friends, but feel free to adapt anything to any other activity, please. So please don't think it could be applied to anyone else. So I can really recommend this paper in case you really want to gain more knowledge about mangroves. And I'm sure you can also contact Mamadou in case you have questions regarding this mangrove paper, Mboji in this case, sorry. I think he would be very happy to answer questions related to the paper. And I know that we're also going to share the link. Oh, there it already is. Okay, that's perfect. So yeah, have a look in it and get a bit inspired and gain some knowledge about mangroves. Woo! But I have the great pleasure to introduce more to you. In case you're actively working with young, in brackets, people, we also developed a training curriculum that youth workers can use, where they can find specific methods on how to shape a training course and how to actually tackle the topic of sustainability in it. You can find it in our curriculum. Those are the two outcomes I'm just explaining and I'm not showing because I know I have a time limit, so I have to be very quick and fast, and I will try to be. It's not my strength, but hey, I will manage. So yeah, we have also this curriculum, and if you have any questions or you want to implement it in activity, feel always free to approach us or have a look in our lovely outcome that I'm going to present now. So just give me a second because I have to share my screen for this. So let's see what you see, and I hope you see what I think you will see. Wow, amazing.
But
it's working.
yes.
Yeah. Sorry, I was still on it. What you can see here is actually a handbook. And as I can touch it, you can already guess it's a paper version. It is just a paper version at the moment, but we will have the digital version ready soon. There is still some more updates and things that we want to add to the digital version. But this is a very special one. Actually, it's printed on algae paper with organic ink, just saying. And it was developed in our lovely project. So my idea is to show this handbook a bit to you. And I'm going to show you one example chapter, but we have different ones. We have basically all the chapters that are necessary in order to make your youth mobility sustainable or any other activity. So we talk about transportation, we talk about accommodation, we talk about activities on spot, something that is sometimes forgotten, but it's really important. We also talk about our impact, like, okay, how do we behave on spot? Like, what is with the waste that we leave behind? Because we maybe know that tourists leave way more waste and trash behind than actual people, inhabitants in the countries. So what can we do about it? What is like light pollution, for example, or noise pollution, and how can we address those topics with our group and when we are planning an activity? So I'm going to show you an example chapter, and I hope you can really see everything now. In case someone cannot see it, just let me know, but I can also zoom a bit. So every of our chapters starts with a postcard with a very nice picture that can be, by the way, also used as a lovely non-formal education method during your activity. And it can be actually also taken out, and it can be really written something on it, as you can see here. You can even send it in case that's still something people are doing. Or you can scan it and post it on social media, and don't forget the hashtag and mentioning us. But this chapter is actually about accommodation. So our chapters always start with like, okay, what actually does it mean? Like a definition of the term, what is accommodation about? Then we have some facts about the topic and how it does affect tourism if you stay in a hotel, or if you stay in a homestay like Airbnb, what does it mean? And to the environment. And then we have some facts, for example, what it means to be in a hotel, what are better options maybe. And of course, we mention our lovely Nature Friends houses because they're amazing. And not to forget, and this is what I meant by it can be also adapted to anything else, to any other activity. We have our 5 to 6 best tips on how to make youth mobilities more sustainable in this very area. In this case, it's accommodation. Like, what do I have to keep in mind when I'm choosing my accommodation? Like, what is necessary? What can I think about? Like, what is the energy usage of the accommodation? Like, is it part of a local community, or is it just a hotel built for profit? So all those things to keep in mind, and here we listed it to give some tips and tricks and to make it easier to think about it. Next to this, sorry. We tackle a very important topic to us, and that's maybe also connected to what we heard about mangroves, the offsetting versus insetting CO2. Often we hear like, why are you actually doing those kind of activities if you still emit CO2 emissions? Yeah, we try to avoid it, but we really think that meeting each other, working together, hand in hand, in solidarity, and working together is really important in order to create a common understanding. Nevertheless, we had a lot of discussions about carbon offsetting versus insetting. So what we came up with is that carbon offsetting, like just paying to something like companies, or I don't know, you most probably all saw it. There is a plane travel. I can click this box. I'm paying, I don't know, 20 euros to an organization where I don't really see what is really made with it. Instead, of course, I should maybe offset and donate also to the climate fund of NFI. That's one part, but the other part is also do something. This mangrove planting that was just introduced by Mama Drusilla, it's an activity also to raise awareness what it actually means. Like, how much CO2 did I emit, and what does it mean to actually really compensate this by actually doing something, and raise awareness, like how many square meters I really have to plant in order to be even somehow able to compensate something and not just to pay something. So that was a really important topic we wanted to tackle. And you can find more information here as well. We have more. We made it really easy. You can find a sustainability checklist over here in our lovely book for all the different chapters that we have. Feel free to just tick the boxes and see how sustainable your youth mobility is. And here's also the QR code to the curriculum that I mentioned before. Yeah, so now I talked a lot. I got this part, and I'm deeply sorry. Shall I do a quick break and you have any questions, or shall I just continue with introducing my next outcome?
I think a break with, if you have any questions, I think would be a good choice. Is everything clear? Or please don't hesitate to ask something, give us a comment. Yes, Ingeborg?
Maybe I was not attentive, but how can one get this handbook, which is in printed form for the time being? Is it possible to buy it, or yeah?
There's different options. So in case you are living in Germany, you can order it at the German Young Nature Friends. In case you're living in Austria, you can get it from the NFI office from next week on when I bought it there. In case you live in the rest of the world, you can order it at IYNF. And the only thing we're asking for is the money for the shipping. In case you would like to take it from the office, for example, in Vienna or in Berlin, depending on where you're living, you can get it for free. We do not sell the product because it's funded by public funds. We're giving it away for free. And we will also publish the online version in the next couple of weeks. But whoever prefers a printed version, feel free to pick it up in one of the offices that I mentioned, or you can get it shipped, of course. And please also tell us how many you would like to have in case it's more than one. Yeah, we have quite some available because we just got them, I think, last week. So you're the first people to really see the printed version of this handbook.
So brand new. Great, great. Yes, any other questions regarding the book? If not so, I ask you kindly, Sina, to introduce us your second project, which is an app, the app Climatis. If you be so kind and let us.
Of course. I'm sharing my screen again. Or I wanted to. Sorry, it takes always a second with the second screen, but yeah. Amazing. So actually, we call the app Climates. And there is something special to it. We do have an English version and there is a German version available. It's available on the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store, or just on the internet in the browser. In case you log in and you would like to see the English version, please choose International Young Nature Friends as your organization. In case you want to see a German version, you can always choose German Young Nature Friends. Yeah, what can we do in this lovely app? We can actually see what kind of impact our travel has. And I will just try to make an example here. So what you see here on the screen is we have a CO2 calculator, which is actually calculating CO2 emissions. My events, that's something I already calculated and I can find there. I can also find kind of a library with different documents and resources in the content. So in case I have a question, for example, I want to look for the handbook, I can also find the different chapters of the handbook uploaded in the content section. So I don't have to always maybe carry a book with me or several PDFs somewhere. No, I can have everything in this one app. So that's really much amazing. And it's a very easy procedure to sign up. So now let's balance an event. Wow, we can calculate a new event and we call it NFI test event. Sorry, I couldn't come up with a better name. And let's say we are 10 people. And we heard, oh, we travel for 14 days, which might be 13 nights. So we're 10 people traveling for 14 days, 13 nights, and we're going to an international encounter. Amazing, which I would consider international youth exchanges as well as Nature Friends travels. So then I can continue. I can see on the top how many emissions I already emitted during the calculations. So I can now select how I got there. Let's say it's an activity to Senegal, which is an international flight, most probably. And let's say all 10 people went. And all 10 people went about 3,500 kilometers. I don't know the real distance, so I apologize. because it's an example. So you see, we already used 6,913 kilograms of CO2. Now, our accommodation. We already heard like is the Naturefriends house. So we choose kind of a hostel. We're still 10 people. And we continue. Catering. Let's say we did vegetarian and 10 people ate vegetarian food. Waste. Did we separate the waste? Of course we did separate our waste. What kind of materials did we use? Yeah, hard to say. Maybe we got a t-shirt. Oh, of course we got organic t-shirt. Oh no, maybe not. Sorry. We got a t-shirt. And also here we got 10 t-shirts because we're 10 people and would be very sad if one person wouldn't get a t-shirt. What kind of activities could we do? What is there? We could do, or I remember there was a bus tour done. The bus tour was 3 hours and we're still 10 people. So that didn't change, hopefully. And then it was a pretty easy example. I'm sure if you do it yourself, it will be much more like specific. And then you can see how much CO2 emissions, which of the activities that you're doing or like travel and so on, how much you actually emitted. And then we see, okay, in total, we emitted 8,468 kilograms. And now you could actually use the handbook, the curriculum, or any other of the outcomes to tackle this topic. It's also nice to have different opportunities when you plan an activity and change some of the numbers and try to find more sustainable alternatives. Yeah, as I said, it's available on the Google Play Store and on the Apple App Store. You have to see for all countries, should be for the mainly all countries, not main countries, sorry. If not, everybody is able to use the browser version. So this should be accessible to really everyone, everywhere who has internet. Like that's still a condition, unfortunately, if you use it in the browser. People said that the app is more handy because you can take it with you to the actual exchange and you can do it as a group as well. But I don't know, for our encounters or youth mobilities, we usually also have our laptops with us. So you can see how to use it. Yeah, but that's the app. And it's like very nice to see and also to compare the different encounters. Like, how did you this time? What did you do last time? How can we change things? Like really evaluating and analyzing the processes and from where you started and making efforts step by step to make mobilities in general more sustainable. Yeah, that's basically the idea. We also know that it's most of the time a step-by-step process, but every step is important. So let's do it.
Mm-hmm. Thanks. Any questions to the app? Yes, Mamadou?
Yeah, thank you, Sina. Very clear. But my worry is about that app is not in French. You said German and English. And you see, many of the young Naturefriends in Africa are French-speaking countries. You see, all of them nearly, I can say all the members of young as adults are French. Why not try and see how to do it also in French? It would help a lot of people. Thank you.
There is a French version as well. But it's a bit different and has a bit of a different content because it was developed by the German French youth Secretariat Council, whatever the official name is. So there is a French version as well that can be accessed in the browser. And it should be as an app or it should be developed as an app as well, but it's not yet ready. That's the reason why I did not mention this one yet, because you can't use it now. I mean, the French browser version you can, and maybe we can also link it. I will send the link as well, if this would be helpful, of course.
Yeah, I mean, we also, all the links with all the projects we introduced, you will get it, of course, when we send out the review of this event in the next few weeks. And then we also will put all the links and also from the French version, of course. And I have one last question to all, to Ingeborg, Mamadou, and Sina. Just a very short one. What is the future perspective? What are your plans? Maybe if you just could answer in few sentences, just to see what's the way in the future. Maybe Ingeborg, you can start again.
Yeah, difficult to say, because for the moment there is no travel project to Senegal or other African countries. But if people are interested, they can contact the NFI, and we will see if there will be another trip to Senegal, to the Gambia. So one never knows.
Okay, Mamadou, maybe you next.
Yeah, I also agree that it's a very difficult question to answer. But yeah, at IYNF, we are also very dedicated to strengthen the partnerships we are having, especially from the Global South and the Global North. So it's something we really cherish, and we are working on it. And hopefully, most probably, very soon we'll have other projects together.
And Sina?
Yeah, IYNF at the moment has a cycle of training courses right for this topic, and we're developing another outcome. We're not entirely sure what the format will be, but it will be also something very usable, of course. That is even developing this handbook further. We can always work more on stuff, and that's the plan. But on top of this, we also submitted a grant application where we have no clue if we get the money or not, as always, on nature sports and sustainability and climate justice. That's very broad. I know it's a 2 years project, hopefully, and it is in cooperation also with Senegal. Yeah, it's a bit hard always to get funding, to be honest, for this partnerships, at least as for us as an international organization, but we really want to have it to make it somehow affordable for everyone who wants to participate. Yeah, we're trying our best to make it possible and accessible for everyone to really live this partnership and really show the solidarity. So yeah, unless we get the decision from the European Commission, hard to tell what is the exact plan, but we're waiting for it patiently, as always.
Thanks, Sina. Yes, thanks again for being here with us for the last hour. Also, let us a small glimpse into your world, into your projects, which are very important to face the climate crisis. I wish you all a very nice evening.